Hey, everybody, good morning, and welcome to another Lockbox Lunatics podcast episode. I'm Steve Lambert up here in Kennewick, Washington, and I've got my wonderful co-host, Mr. Chad Kamp, down there in AZ. How you doing, Chad?
Good morning. Good morning. I'm doing well. How is life treating you up in Washington these days?
Super well. I had this new drink that Starbucks has, and it's three shots of espresso and a little bit of a cream topper thing. And I think it's got me a little
So,
spazzed out right now.
so it
It's a
gives,
productive morning.
so you're three shots to the wind is what
Three
you're
shot,
telling me.
three shots to the wind, exactly. I'll tell you. And then I went to the gym and I had some pre-workout, so but my heart's pretty okay. I feel like it's pretty good, but
No, that,
a little zippy Steve this morning, if you will.
nice. Well, we're having a little bit of technical difficulties down here in Chandler, Arizona. Apparently, we ran out of internet space.
Oh,
So, the office is I'm the only one that is online right now with any type of,
you have used all the internet up. You
we
have
have.
used the capacity.
I hear the sirens going off outside. Warning
Good
people
place,
get back in their homes. Internet is out. Yep,
good place to be. You control the internet. Who
that's
knew?
right.
Who knew? Who knew? Well, it was
Uh,
funny. We were talking beforehand about some just about different brokerage stuff and things like that. We were kind of talking about different subjects, like what are we going to talk about today a little bit on some things. And we are pretty broker centric, obviously, with this podcast. And we kind of wanted to toot our own horn a little bit. So if you're curious about what we're going to toot our horn about, we'll kind of let you know about something that we have that's really unique and only unique to Exit Realty.
yes. Yeah, no, it's actually the main one of the I wouldn't say it's the main reason, but it was pretty high up there as to why I joined the brokerage. I wanted to gather agents around that wanted everybody to succeed and wanted to invite folks in.
Yes.
Ultimately, if that were to happen for you and I, we're brokers. The bigger, the more agents we add, the more agents that we can impact their life, the payoff is it helps improve our life, right?
100%.
Well,
Absolutely.
I wanted to find some way to be able to have my agents who help me grow the brokerage benefit from that,
Right.
right?
No, and
And so
it's challenging, right?
it
We
is.
look at so many different ways to do that. And we're like, how do we do that while still, maintaining some type of profitability? Because contrary to what people think, being a brokerage owner is not, it's not just rolling in the dough. It's tight.
Yeah,
Um,
we put the broke in brokerage.
exactly. And so what Chad's referencing to, and it was much for the same reason that a big driver for me with Exit 2, I was like, how do I find a way to bring people in, get them trained up, have them find great success, be excited about the brand, and want to tell their friends who are brokers, or even if they're not brokers looking to get into the industry, to say, hey, if you do come to a brokerage, I really want you to consider where I'm at. I love it for X, Y, and Z reasons. And I knew they would love it for the training. I knew they'd love it for the tech, and I knew they'd love it for the culture. But I was like, what's one other thing we can add? And that's where the Exit sponsoring program came in. It's a single level residual program, which is really, really cool. And it was funny because I was meeting with an agent from another brokerage the other day, huge brokerage, nationally and all that. And when I explained to them what it was, they were blown away. They said, wow, I that sounds too good to be true. And I get that reaction a lot. And so
Right.
we're going to break it down for you folks today. This isn't black magic. It's not, there's nothing funky. This is like real deal stuff. And it's cool. And the fun part is like Chad and I can both tell you, I don't have a double major from MIT in mathematics. I'm not that guy. If you're looking for him, I don't know where he's at. Ain't me though. I just need things simple, clean, and easy for me to be able to understand. And that's where I love our system. I don't need to get out an abacus or do anything funky or pull out the old, whatever you were referencing it before, the
Yeah,
old
it was an
text.
old HP calculator.
Yeah.
I think a lot of folks they'll hear a little bit about our model and their brain will turn off because they think MLM,
Yeah.
right?
So
And
not bad.
what this system is, it's like my daughters, right? They're single level.
I
Now,
love it. They
yeah,
may not be happy with you after this podcast, but at the
they
same time, but no,
they
that's such a great point. It's not the multi-level thing here. We're not doing, we're not doing like, we're not selling vacuums, we're not selling knives, we're not selling perfume, whatever it is, the different things that are out there. This is a single level residual program. When people think, well, what does that mean? Think about your insurance agent, right? sells you an auto policy, sells you a home policy. Do they get a commission on that? Absolutely. Well, guess what? Every year when it renews, do they get a commission again? They do, right? And so single level residual program is what we have. And so if I bring Chad or Chad brings me on board to each of our respective brokerages, he's my sponsor. Now, does that mean he has to hold my hand and do a bunch of stuff? Nope. But if he wants to, he can. And that's the fun part about it is that it's kind of a hands-off program.
Right. Yeah, and it's one of those things where as you progress as an agent and as you continue to move forward, you start to quickly realize you can only do so much with your time. So you want to create additional revenue streams, right?
Yeah.
And so this is what we're talking about is creating additional revenue streams. This isn't the only revenue stream that we teach here in our office, and I'm sure yours as well. Another revenue stream that we teach is investing in real estate. We know real
Yeah.
estate. We should be investing in real estate to create an additional income stream. Well, this is just one of those income streams that can be very lucrative if you're looking for the opportunities, if you're able to recognize, hey, who's going to fit very well in our culture, and who's going to go ahead and be able to, as Bob said last week, right? I think we might have been off screen, but basically find agents that have a full battery pack and that
Yeah.
is charging themselves, right? So as our agents see individuals that are very proactive and pursuing real estate, especially if they're seeing all they're doing is spinning their wheels and they're really not finding any traction during any
Yeah.
time
Yeah.
frame, then we might be a good fit for them to help grow them up in the business. And then that agent that makes that introduction gets a very specific number.
Mhm.
Like you said, you don't have to have an abacus. Don't ask me to tell that. You don't have to have that, right? But it's very specific, and you know what you will get. It's not, I've spoke with some agents from a recruiting perspective, and there's a model out there where they give out a certain amount, but there are so many different charts and so many different. Okay, if you bring this person on, you get this. So we were talking, and he said, "Hey, I brought an agent on board, introduced them to the brokerage." I said, "Okay, how much did you get for that?" Well, I think I got $170. Oh, okay, that's nice. What was his production level? Oh, he's in six figures all the time. So when I shared with him how much he would get here in this brokerage,
Yeah.
he just sat there staring at me because it's a little bit more than $170, don't you think, Steve?
It is. The cool part is, and this is something that like I want to put this out there because we're very as a company, we're very quiet about this because we focus on so Exits focuses on people and
Right.
then their business, right? And I love something that you said that you're like, we teach people how to do the business of real estate, but we also teach them how to create wealth for themselves or retirement because we're not 401ks, we're self-employed. We don't have a lot of the things that you have when you're in a kind of a typical corporate job, right? And part of it is we're teaching you how to be a business owner. We're teaching you how to be a real estate expert and be a business owner and investing in that field that you're an expert in, but also this is creating a third revenue stream, right? So we're looking at ways to help people find wealth through their efforts that they're working through. And this is semi-passive in a way because you make the introduction, get the person on board, and then it kind of runs for itself then. But yeah, so you have a producing agent, like you were giving that example. So he was bringing in what, $170 for that agent. And you're like, how about we take that and 10 times it? How about you bring in 10K a year for that person?
Exactly.
Different
Exactly.
conversation when people hear that number. They're like, wait, 10K? And I'm like, yeah, and it doesn't get watered down. So that person that comes on, they bring on somebody else. It doesn't become your downline or your downstream that we hear a lot of other companies call it. They get the same benefit. It's a one ratio all the time. You bring on five producers to the company, you're bringing in $50,000 a year in additional revenue. That's on top of your commissions. And people
And
once they start looking at those numbers, those are real, those are big numbers, and it's
they
real.
are, they are. And it goes hand in hand. I mean, if you set yourself up properly as an agent, it goes hand in hand with being able to build your real estate portfolio. What
Yes.
are some of the things that you can do from an investment perspective that's going to hedge against inflation?
Yeah.
Real estate is one of those things. So
Yes.
if you're very purposed on what to do with those funds, you set that money aside, look for an investment property, put that in as your down payment, and as long as your cap rate and you've got some positive cash flow, you start building a real estate portfolio.
Oh, it's
right?
it's amazing what it can do. I mean, like you said, let's say you have 3 to 5 people. Like you said, you set that aside as a separate account, and not all of them, let's say, are even producing. Let's say out of those 3 to 5 people, let's say you're bringing in 35 grand a year.
Right.
Like not everybody's a full producer, right? So you're bringing that in. And what I mean by that, folks, is let's say when we're talking a full producer, somebody that does $100,000 in gross commission income, you get 10% of that. So if they do 50,000, you get 10%. So 5,000, 10,000, so on and so forth, and all the denominations in between. If you set that, and this is, it's not one time, it's every year. It resets and starts over every year. And so if you set that aside over 3 years, I've got $90,000 now that I didn't. That's just added to what I was doing. It's just additive that I can go now, like you said, put on a down payment on a rental house or maybe buy a piece of dirt somewhere or something like that. Or maybe I take that money and I use it to invest into, maybe I start a 401k with a, self or a self directed IRA or something, whatever it is. But there's, what I'm trying to say is there's so many things that you can do with that create a financial advantage. And if you think about that over the course of your career, goodness, if you do 20 years and you're getting 40 or $50,000 every year that you wouldn't normally be getting, that's a boatload of cash that you wouldn't be
Yeah.
getting normally.
And I love the figure that Exit just put out. They've paid out three-quarters of $1 billion,
It's
right?
crazy, right?
Three-quarters to us agents. And if you look at this, I mean, Exit is throughout the US and Canada as well. But that's a phenomenal number. So
That's
those agents, not only the agent that is being introduced to Exit, right? Because what is our minimum number of sales to be considered full-time?
I believe it's eight. If I
8.
eight,
Right.
yes.
So our goal is to have a minimum, all our agents selling 8 homes a year,
Yep.
period. Right. You look at some of these other
Which is a
brokers,
great living when you look at
it
that,
is.
just in and of itself, right? Yeah.
Right. And if you look at some of these other brokerages, 400 agents, and then you dissect that as how many of those are producing. Now, I'll share a quick anecdotal story, if you will. I'm working for 100% office years ago. I was working a full-time job, working real estate part-time.
Okay.
I get called into the brokers. The only time he's ever called me in. Hey, I wanted to let you know you're in the top 10% of salespeople in my company. And he had like 350, 400 people. And I said, how is that possible? I'm only part-time. And you got when I go in the office, the same people were in the office every
Yeah.
single time. And so those were in my mind full-timers because you could tell they just camped out there, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, no, you need to consider, stepping away from your full-time job and coming on, full-time because, what you're currently doing is matching, you're in the top 10%. Right. And so if we look at the average agent in the country, I think I saw something where they make about 50, the average agent's gross commission is $58,000 a year.
Yeah.
Does
Something
that
like that.
sound
I
about
think
right?
NAR had it 2 years ago at 30,000.
Okay, let's just go with 30,000. Okay.
Yeah.
If you're bringing on agents, they're making on average 30,000 and you bring on, 3 people. Now, I'm
Right.
not a great mathematician, but how much money is the agent making? They're making 9,000 a year off of that. And all
Yeah.
they did was make the introduction. Our job as a broker is to help those agents provide opportunities for those agents to learn, come alongside them and mentor them to increase that productivity level, right?
Oh,
And so
100%. Yeah.
and as long as they're willing to participate, right, and have a positive attitude, I think it's Bob's 3 Ps: participate, positive attitude, and production, right?
Yep.
As long as you have those 3 Ps in mind, they're going to go ahead, they're going to reach that,
Yeah.
right?
It's crazy. It's such a it's such a cool concept, and the fun part is that the other thing that I want to point out about this program or what we offer is that, one, it's been around for, we're going on our 30-year
30
anniversary
years,
as a
yeah.
company here this year, I believe. Not us personally, but Exit Realty
Right, right.
International. Um, it's not market dependent because it's a self-funded program, because that 10% is coming out of closings. So it's a self-funded program, self-driven program.
Doesn't matter what the stock market is doing.
Exactly. And since we're a privately held company, there's some companies out there that toss out there, and I'm not putting these companies down. I'm simply talking about programs specifically where they talk about stock options or profit sharing. Those are those are those are caveats or options that can be fairly easily manipulated based upon needs. And I'll use profit sharing as an example. Profit sharing can be played around with behind the scenes with the numbers so easily because you have two opposing forces. I've got investors and stockholders over here, and I've got my IC people, my agents over here, and I'm telling both of them, I'm going to give you each something. Well, depending on where that falls, that number can change dynamically or drastically. If I say, hey, I really need my stockholders to kick it up this year, I'm going to deliver some bigger than normal dividends to get some more
Right.
investment in the company. Well, I just hurt my people in my company, right?
I have a practical question for you, Steve, along those lines.
Absolutely. I'm a very
So
practical guy.
can realtors, licensed agents,
Mhm.
sue the owners of the company for not delivering proper revenue share?
I
Or
believe they have.
or can stockholders sue the board for business decisions that are driving down the profits?
I want to
Who
say
did
yes and yes because I believe it's happened
Okay. All right.
in that
So
particular
just
situation.
just shoot
I'm
me.
almost
Yeah,
positive.
shoot me down. But here's the thing: is the board of directors, they're beholden to the stockholders.
Right. Yeah. They're not out looking for their agent's best interest at that point necessarily. They are
I
looking to drive investment in the company because the more that company's worth, the more their stock goes up, the more value they get on Wall Street, which sounds great when you're talking about profit sharing. Investment of stock into a corporation does not translate into profit. There are multiple companies out there that have operated for a decade or more at a perpetual loss of anywhere from 50 million to 200 million, but they are stock market. The stock market loves them. There was a huge acquisition that recently happened that was driven by a very big company. I believe if and I'm going to double check, but I'll go on record here as saying I believe since their inception they've never shown a profit. And they are the golden child of Wall Street. They get investment after investment after investment. But at some point, they're going to have to be profitable. And they just took on a couple $1 billion in more debt. So that situation, at some point, the people that have been investing in this company for a long time are going to say, when's my return coming? That
Right.
pressure, excuse me, is going to build tremendously.
Yeah, right. So
We
I'd be
don't have that
interested.
pressure. We're privately owned. We don't have that
Right,
pressure.
right. No, I'd be
Ours just
interested.
works.
Back to your point is honestly, I'd like to hear because I didn't know that agents could sue the brokerage from a revenue share perspective, or
Yes, there was a
now
large
if it
corporation out.
contracts if it's contrary to their agreement and they're cooking the books. Okay, I get that.
It might have been that. So I'm not going to name the company, but it's a big company out there that used to be the largest. That's no longer the largest.
Okay.
And I believe they had some of their agents that were retired or had moved on based upon the program they were vested under. The parameters were changed, and I believe they took them to court and got them to go back to the original parameters. But those
Oh,
parameters
well,
had
that's
changed.
yeah, that's okay. So that's it's the same, but it's different. It would be my argument, right?
Okay.
So what it is they have a contract. This is what you're supposed to honor and pay me,
Mm-hmm.
not because their profits weren't high enough,
Oh,
not
I
because
see. Yeah.
yeah, not because their stocks they weren't given the stocks that you know
Yeah,
share,
I see what you're saying.
right?
So, like, they
It was a
promises not
contract
delivered
issue.
versus. Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Where the stock owners they can sue the board and they can pursue you're taking this company in a direction that is
Yeah.
not going to improve our stock that we're holding
Yeah.
and provide the growth as well as the profit. So that lawsuit you're talking is
Yeah.
not necessarily in regards to profit that the company is generating or not generating.
No, no. And you bring up a great point though. Look at how we're having to talk through all this.
Oh yeah.
Just to figure this. This is what if you're at one of those companies and this is what you're working off of, these are the things you have to be worried about in the background.
Yeah.
And again, I'll revert back to ours. 10% is 10%. 10% of a dollar is 10 cents. It may be worth more or less based upon what inflation or the economy is doing,
Right.
but I can figure it out. It's 10 cents.
Right.
Not hard, right? And there's nothing, I don't have to
That's
sue anybody about that. I don't have to like go after anybody. It's just straight up, it just makes sense.
Yeah. And
Anyway,
then you as the agent can take that 10% or possibly a tenth of an ounce of silver now, if you've seen silver prices, right?
That's
We're getting close.
yeah,
We're getting close.
exactly.
So, you can take that and invest that in whatever mechanism, whatever vehicle you like. And
Yeah,
what I teach here is you want to put that somewhere where there's a hedge against inflation, right?
right.
So you want that to grow with inflation and not be in a negative position. So don't go out and buy a car. That's
Don't go out and buy a car.
that's going to be negative appreciation. Now, if you have to get a vehicle, right? But
Maybe don't buy crypto right now. Crypto's not doing so
yeah,
great.
crypto's
Or
probably
just
not a
load
good
up on it. At
concept.
some point,
Yeah,
maybe it'll turn around. Um,
right. But so
but
I mean that's kind of what we teach here is look, hey, take that money, set it aside if you can. First, put it off in your business, get your business humming, right?
yep.
Secondly, now when your business is humming, and now put that towards buying purchasing real estate because real estate values, even during the depression, there was appreciation. It wasn't much, but there was still appreciation.
Well, once everything started booming, it went crazy,
Oh
right? So
yeah.
if you
Yeah.
hold on, long-term holds in real estate are great. Like you said, you can never invest too soon and too early on that stuff and just
Yeah.
ride it.
Yeah.
It does very well. The cool part though is this ties into very much like our culture and our mantra, basically saying we want great people and we're going to teach great real estate ethics, fundamentals and ability to negotiate and be the best agents out there, right? That's a big part of what we do. And a part of that is the holistic side of it of saying, we want you to succeed in this business. We want you to stay in this business. And we have an opportunity through sponsoring that allows you to get an additional revenue stream that can get you through the tight times when there's no closings. Or like you said, you can set it aside and use it to invest in something that's going to bring in even more revenue to you, and do even more
Right.
for you. So
Right. Well,
I, I think it's great.
I know we're at the end of our time. So for you listeners out there, if you want to learn more, whether you're in Washington, contact Mr. Lambert up there at Exit Realty Tri-Cities. If you're down here in the Valley, contact me, Chad Kamp, Exit Realty Coannah, and we can kind of talk you through that process and how this can benefit you and how
Yeah,
we look starkly different than everybody else. So just because you hear certain words doesn't mean we're the same thing, right? So
100% agree. Yes.
there again, please, if you would like, comment, and share this podcast, we'd greatly appreciate it as we're trying to grow our reach and out there. We're trying to impact you, the agent's lives. So, hey, Steve, it's great seeing you. We'll
Yeah,
catch up
you
with
too,
you
man.
next week.
Give the internet back to the people down there. They need it.
I will. I think I hear them outside, protesting power to the people with the internet.
Right on. I love it.
All right, take care.
See you guys next time.